It's the spring of 2021 and the real estate market in the United States is going crazy. In some cities, homes are flying off the shelf, and in other cities, you can't sell your home without getting robbed because things are deflating so fast. If you're thinking about investing in real estate as a newbie, there's some new considerations that you're going to have to make if you're going to invest in real estate after COVID-19. It's actually changed the game, at least for the next couple of years. So in this video, I'm going to teach you some things that you should consider and know and learn about before you go and buy your first home or do your first flip or do your first arbitrage. My name's Sean Rakidzich. I'm a real estate professional experienced in something called rental arbitrage, and I use Airbnb to make my money. I took a $4,000 investment and I turned it into $10 million of revenue in 6 years, and I never had to reinvest any outside capital. It was just all snowballed from that $4,000. So if there's anybody here that can teach you about how to take advantage of unique opportunities, it's going to be your friend Sean here at AIRBNB Automated. Without further ado, let's jump in. Airbnb family, welcome back. Now remember, like the video and subscribe, share it with your friends. This is the future. Real estate is changing, and what's so cool about change is with change, there's truly opportunity. See, when everything's always the same, the people who just grind harder and have more resources tend to take up all of the market share. But as things start to change, the big guys, they have to pivot, and they can't keep up with the fact that you're able to get into the market because you're nimble, you're small, you're quick, you can focus on one deal. Now, if you're thinking of investing in real estate or changing your real estate investing strategy, let me give you what I think are the things that you need to know in order to level up your real estate investing game for 2021, considering that COVID-19 has changed so much. First, if you're investing in real estate, you need to understand what can be invested, and it's not just your hard-earned cash. See, investing is where you put something in and you get more back out of it, and you might put money in and get something else out just the same. So for example, you can invest money that you own, money that you borrow. You can invest sweat equity into a deal. There are value add plays that require time, like for example, wholesaling. You hustle, 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 and hopefully you make some money in the middle. If you flip a home, of course you got to pick up the home, do all the work to rehab it, and then flip it. That requires a lot of sweat equity, not just the money. You can also invest your expertise into a deal. So you can partner with somebody who has time and money, but just doesn't know what they're doing, and you can be an advisor on a deal. That's how a lot of people get their come up in real estate investing with wholesaling or flipping, is they start working for somebody who's a JV, who's done it, and can kind of warn the little guys like, hey, avoid these types of houses or avoid these traps because they end up costing way too much money and you'll actually lose money on your flip. These are all parts of investing. So that's why you're here also, right, is to get smarter so that way you can invest your expertise into whatever your next venture is. That's why they say investing in yourself is probably the best investment because it pays off for the rest of your life. So obviously, welcome to this channel. You did the right thing. Speaking of knowing things, you need to understand how the markets work, how the housing market and the rental market functions, why prices go up or go down, and how some markets can become hot and emotional or cold and emotional, and then some markets are stagnant and business as usual. For example, Dallas right now is a seller's market, and in such a crazy way, there's almost no inventory available, but that homes are getting 50, 100 bids within 48 hours of being listed. People are putting up blind bids over asking prices on homes. This is not natural, it's not healthy for the housing market, and it's not sustainable. So if you were investing long-term into houses right now going, I'm going to buy and hold, and wow, look at this housing market, it's on the way up, I'm gonna make so much money here in Dallas, because look at these prices, they'll go forever. That's not true. You're in an emotional hot market, which means if you buy right now, chances are that home is not going to keep going up and never checkmark back. There's a risk of a drawdown after these home prices cool off. So your risk of losing money is probably even more apparent than your reward that you could make from buying right now, potentially. So that's one thing you need to consider. So with this one example in mind, and then looking at places like New York or San Francisco where people are leaving and the prices are actually dropping, these create opportunities. See, when people are emotional, they're gonna do things that aren't smart. They're gonna buy for more, they're gonna sell for less, they're going to say yes to certain negotiations. In my world of rental arbitrage, I can take landlords' fear and I can get them to give me free rent. And what I do is I take their property, say on a 3-year long lease, and I get them to give me 3-4 months of rent for free. And I furnish the place, put it on Airbnb, and for the first 3 or 4 months, I put my $5,000 to $8,000 in furniture in, and I print $15,000 on the front end, get all that furniture money back, and then start paying rent, and of course keep maintaining a profitable business as an Airbnb operator. But I get all that like invested money back, and I can just throw that right back into the market and grow this gigantic Airbnb empire off of other people's properties and free rent because the landlords are scared. This is an example of an opportunity that presents itself because you understand how markets work. Knowledge really is power in real estate investing. It's not just the capital, because again, that example is very cash light. You can get furniture on the cheap and start an Airbnb, and voila, you don't even have to know how leases work and how to get tenants per se, because you don't really have to worry about evicting people as an Airbnb business. And third, you should assess what your goals are and your tolerances are before you choose a strategy of investment that will be best suited for you. Because on one side, you might be cool with putting in the extra time as long with your money, like doing a flip where you rehab the home and then force appreciation and sell it. That's also time intensive. Or doing Airbnb like me, where you pick up a property, furnish it, deal with guests every day, and get more cash a month out of more cash flow per month out of the property. That might be cool for you. But you might also be the type that's like, I'm super intelligent, I know how to find a house that's gonna do well as an investment, but I wanna buy the house and just kind of put a tenant in there and not have to worry about that because I wanna put all my time on market research. And that's cool too. So where your strengths lie will be where you should, of course, get into the market for the type of investment that works for you. And there's nothing wrong with partnering with people who kind of fill that missing piece that you don't have. So if you're the smart type that doesn't like to do all the active stuff, then find somebody who's a little bit more of like a hustler and a grinder, and create a little dynamic duo where you guys can get value add from each other on your investment plays. Now, remember that each type of investment or each real estate strategy you come across will work in specific markets, but they won't always work to be profitable all the time. I will say that wholesaling right now in Dallas, for example, is probably not like a way to make money, because there's so many people trying to wholesale in a market that now is a seller's market, and the seller, which is the person you're trying to get the home from, probably knows that it's a seller's market. Even the undereducated people, which wholesaling targets undereducated people and pretty much preys on them to get homes for like 60, 65 cents on the dollar, 70 cents on the dollar. And now right now in Dallas, even the people who don't know much about the real estate market know that there's people willing to pay a lot of money for their house, because there's a lot of people knocking on their doors right now making offers to wholesale. So people are wising up in a market like this to wholesaling. So there's gonna be less margin in wholesaling. Now there may be markets where wholesaling will work, maybe on the coasts, because people are moving out of San Francisco, moving out of New York, and there might be a cool opportunity here to make a wholesaling play if you're well connected to investors who are buying homes, and you can guarantee a home a fast sale as long as somebody sells it to you quickly for, cents on the dollar, and all they care about is getting out now while the market is on the way down. They may think that they've made a good mutual deal with you by selling at 65 cents on the dollar because they're afraid that the market's going to drop even more. You could possibly do that in other markets. In any of these real estate plays, negotiation is paramount, especially in these kind of abstract deals where you're going to do fix and flips and you're going to try to buy properties for less, or you're going to do what I do where I try to get my rents for free, where I'll get a landlord to give me a 3-year-long lease and give me 4 months of rent for free, and I can just start to spool up a bunch of cash. I'm able to do that because I'm negotiating based on the fear that a landlord has that they're not going to get their home rented. And so in the coastal markets like San Francisco, where there's a lot of empty inventory, I have a lot of power there with a landlord to make that negotiation. So the time is right. Now, there are instances in my world, obviously I'm an expert on Airbnb, so I can give you really crazy examples of where the opportunity lies. Even in a city like Dallas where it's a seller's market and there's probably not enough inventory, I can find opportunity here because I can find, say, a lease up where a building is new, and I can get to that building and say, hey, you have 0% occupancy right now, and I know you don't plan on breaking 85% occupancy the first year, so let's rock a deal where I pick up your units right away and give you a value add. And there's other landlords who, companies like mine, might have went out of business during COVID, and I've been able to pick up their inventory fully furnished already as well. So the more you understand one of these real estate plays, the more that you'll find the opportunity in the game. And that's why some of you watching this who might actually be keen wholesalers will argue with me maybe and say that Dallas is still a great place to wholesale because you guys know everything about wholesaling and you can still find the opportunities. So again, to circle back to the real point of this video is, if you're going to invest in real estate, you really just should study, know your stuff, and keep your eye open for those unique opportunities. And it's okay to niche down, be like, I want to wholesale, or I want to flip, or I want to buy and hold, or I want to buy an Airbnb, or I want to arbitrage like Sean. You can do all sorts of different deals but get in there and figure it all out. Grab a mentor, take some dudes to coffee, learn how they've done it. But also remember that so much is changing right now that what has worked the last couple of years is only going to be partially true, and there's going to be some opportunities that just have never ever presented themselves until today, which is super awesome. So I hope that you guys find those like ethereal fast opportunities and you can make a ton of money. Again, subscribe to this channel because we're going to talk a lot about what you can do to make money in real estate, and of course with an Airbnb spin most of the time. My name's Sean, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.